Laurie Huston's News for the Heart is dedicated to helping you give a voice to your own soul. Our hearts have the power to free us from pain and the struggles that keep us from awakening to our true essence. Join Laurie now as we delve into our heart and soul to find the path that will open us to the possibilities and lead us to the life we love to live.
And good afternoon. This is News for the Heart. Wow, I feel like I haven't said that in like 3 or 4 months. Oh, right, I haven't. Okay,
It's been 2.
feels so much longer. Um, but we're in September, so I'm back. And because it's the second Tuesday, which may be changing, I have my beautiful co-host, Tracy McBurney, with me. And we're going to talk about, particles and this beautiful prayer that you found. And I think it's going to be great. So looking forward to that.
Okay, so hey, Laurie, here for the laugh, and then we'll see what else. And I mean here for the authentic laugh. Okay, so as we were talking before the show, just been a couple of troubling things that have gone on over the last little while. And we didn't discuss it, but even the stealing of my purse, the stealing of all my ID, the stealing of my phone, my new phone, all of that. So little of all of that ruffled my feathers. I've been so calm about all of that. Like really, so astoundingly calm, with the exception of the finding out that when you get a new driver's license, they keep the same number on the front of your card. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And the woman said, there's only this little change that happens at the back of the card. These 2 little things. And I'm like, well, how's that helpful? Like whoever looks at the back of the card is like, anyway, that's for another day. But that really was the only thing that really troubled me about the replacing of all my ID. And yeah, so I went through that little storm just beautifully. I was choosing love. I was in love. I was connected. Love was all good. And then some other things hit. And then a posting, an email that I opened up that I got told, open it up. You need to see this one hit. And it was telling me about a bill, Canadian bill, C293, that they call Pandemic Prevention Preparedness Act. And seeing that this has been put forward a year ago by our MP in my own neighborhood, which was quite disturbing. And that and several other things that had gone on in my husband's world, and that I just became part of my world. And I recognized how little boundary I had to any of what was going on with him. Just has been just ruffled stuff. And then whatever the cosmicness of the last couple of days, then that's also been problematic. And I was just a little messy about 15 minutes before I was coming into this call for all of these reasons. And guidance had me going to find the prayer book that guidance had me going to find for a client last week. And when I flipped through the prayer book to say, okay, which one of these prayers is going to be helpful to me on this day, because I want to be in my better place to come into this call, I landed on the same prayer that got landed on for my client a week ago. And I said it, and it didn't shift much. I didn't feel anything really shifting and changing. I turned the page because the prayer was also on the next page. And then I went down to the following prayer that's called the Ocean of God's Love. And I started to read it. And I read all the lines of it, and I read all the lines of it going down. And now I'm at the third last line of this prayer that's maybe 16 lines long. And I get to the one line that meant something, the one line that shifted something. And it was a line that said, love dwells within me as me. And it was almost like this internal gulp, this internal like, whoa, there's an adjustment happening. There's something happening that's meaningful to me. Maybe not meaningful to you, but meaningful to me. I'm remembering something. I'm waking up from something. Some fog is lifting, like this this one line started to lift the fog where none of the other lines that came before it or the prayer that came before it did a thing until I got to this line. Love dwells within me as me. The line after that, I am loved and I am at peace. I am capitalized. I am loved. I am at peace. Thank you, God, and so it is. And I felt that. I felt something now finding its way into some greater peacefulness when I said that phrase, love dwells within me as me. And so I sat there with that. And I like Ho'oponopono on some of these downtimes because I can absolutely see, there's no question, even as I'm on this call with you, it's improving a little bit, but I can actually really recognize the judgment that I am holding right now for this Nathaniel Erskine Smith MP federally in our riding. No question. Like just literally going, what the hell are you doing? What the hell did you bring forward into the House of Commons when I found out a year ago? 293 came into the House of Commons by his hand a year ago. And it really is a bill that allows for the law to be of this land, that the sovereign rights of Canadians will be given over to the WHO if there's ever a pandemic that the WHO decides is a pandemic. Then the sovereign rights of all Canadians are now going to be gone. And the sovereignty of Canada is gone. And do I have judgment of that? Absolutely. Absolutely. And so what I've said to you before on the show, whenever you're in judgment, you are not clear. Do I want to stay in judgment? I want to stay in judgment. I want to stay in judgment. I'm going to stay in judgment. I'm going to stay in judgment this week. The next I am so angry about this. I'm going to stay in judgment about this. It's the right place to be. But when you hear those words that you speak in your ears, in your body, love dwells within me as me, it's hard to stay in that judgment place because it starts to put me into a place that has more connection to compassion. Not the judging heart. Compassion. Love for me, love within me, love somewhere else, love going out somewhere else. And so at that moment, I kind of wanted to reach for Ho'oponopono because it's always been one of the really helpful things when I'm really confused and I'm really spiraling about something. And I just need some string of clarity. And so just sitting here with this, I take what Ho'oponopono says is, looking out at somebody else, recognize we are all one, recognize it is us oneness issue. So I am taking responsibility. I am taking responsibility for the capacity to create something, to create a bill, to create a law, to create a painting, to create a story, to create something that is not operating in connection with that truth that love dwells within me as me. I am taking responsibility for that. Our capacity, my capacity to create anything, something, whatever, tomorrow's day, from a place of complete disconnection from that knowing and that truth, that love dwells within me as me. Forgive me. I love you. I am sorry. Forgive me. I love you. I am sorry. Forgive me. I love you. I am sorry. Forgive me for all that I have created on this earth, that I've created, any day that I have created that has been in disconnection, maybe even at war with that knowing that love dwells within me as me. Forgive me. I love you. I am sorry. Forgive me. I love you. I am sorry. Forgive me yesterday. All day yesterday, I was not in a place of remembering that truth, that love dwells within me as me. All day yesterday, I was in a different place, connected to something within me, connected to something operating that was so distant from that. Forgive me yesterday. I love you. I am sorry.
Can I make a side note?
Yeah, please. Oh, and then thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for these insights. Thank you to the guidance that delivers me to this book. Thank you to the person who wrote the lines of this prayer. Thank you to that line that spoke to me. Thank you. Yeah, side to that.
Your microphone is working perfectly.
Oh, awesome. Yay. Awesome.
But I think it didn't start until you started the Ho'oponopono. So, I mean, it's cleaned up completely. So, yeah, it was being infected by, I guess, just the energy of what's going on.
Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for greater clarity. Thank you for bringing me back to this prayer. Thank you for bringing me back to this prayer book. Thank you for bringing me to this line. Thank you to the author of this line. I was not the author of this line. Thank you to all of it. For the end of the day, I don't want to sit in judgment. I don't want to be filled with judgment. I don't want my heart to be a judging heart. I don't want to be living so angered from my judgment, so hating from my judgment, so distressed and disappointed from my judgmental place in heart and in mind, that I am not clear and I'm not a channel for divine clarity coming in. So I wish to be open to that, a channel for divine clarity coming in. And if I choose to stay in my judgmental place, my anger, my filled with anger that is literally coming from that judgmental place, then I am not a channel. I'm not a channel for divine light. I'm not a channel for divine truth. I'm not a channel for something better than what is animating my day to day.
It's so easy to get caught up in the frustration because it's been a very unique summer that just the energies have been crazy. I think, honestly, I think it's been since that solar eclipse that we had, even though we're reaching the next eclipse stage this month, actually. It's almost like those 6 months have been a very fiery energy, like a really fiery energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had all the solar flares and it's just been,
Yeah. And it's, you know, what I feel sometimes when I've touched into it is it's my responsibility to stay angry. It's my responsibility to stay strong and let this anger kind of flow and give me strength. It's my responsibility to literally stay in that place and hold that place and stay strong from that place and find my resilience from that place. And it feels like the only time I really sit in that idea is when it comes to freaking Canadian politics right now, when it comes to what is going on in this country.
you're very passionate about it.
Now, what they do say, like in hey, you know, I hadn't really thought about this before, and this is relevant. What I came to know and what I like to teach in the energy medicine class, what I like to teach in the psychology of disease class when I was teaching at IHN, is when we feel our boundaries are being breached, what we see as our boundaries, one of the very first things that happens is internal anger. So if the body feels that its boundaries are being breached, the boundary of a cell being breached, internal anger. There's an internal, like an internal anger, like something's attacking, something's coming in, like wake up. And so knowing that about our body,
Right.
that that's the way our body works.
Right.
Then I sit there and go, well, if I see certain things as the boundaries of Canada, as I see certain things as the laws of Canada, and they are our boundaries, they are our structure. And I see that being breached. And I find out that that's been breached. And I find out that that's been breached months ago, months and months ago, but you can't hear about it on media. I'm sitting and go, well, of course I'm getting angry. Of course I'm getting angry. That's a breach of boundary. That's a breach of what I see as the structure and boundary of what I call this country of Canada. And if I see it as that boundary, then that's safe. So it's very, I hadn't really thought about it till now. So this is me just delivering that to you now, going, of course I get angry. It is a natural response to boundaries being breached at a physical body level. Of course. But we need to do better. We need to do better than staying angry. We need to do something more elevated than staying angry. Like that's what I'm being reminded of with this prayer, this line of this prayer. Love dwells within me as me. Don't forget that, angry one. Don't forget that, hating one. Don't forget that. Don't get lost there in the natural reptilian response of anger, because you're disengaged with what is greater truth underneath this.
And
so come home.
We disengage because we like to do a spiritual bypass, right? Like we'd like to do that. We'd like to say, oh, everything has purpose. There's a reason for everything. And then we try and, well, we just bypass it. We're not authentic. We're not living, because although I believe anger is not a primary emotion, it usually hides something deeper underneath it. I also believe that it's still authentic when we have it. We shouldn't be trying to bypass our emotions because they make us uncomfortable. We shouldn't bypass what's happening because it makes us uncomfortable. We just have to find a way to be love.
Well, what they say about anger is that anger is a masking emotion.
Right.
And they say underneath that emotion is fear. So if you think about a cell for a second, and something has breached the boundary of that cell, then of course that's going to make the cell anxious. Of course that's going to make the cell fearful. It's going to make the cell disturbed. It's going to disturb the domain of the cell. And there's going to be reaction to that. So we could say, if we're giving a cell kind of the human emotion, it's like, it's fear. It's fear. What's going on with me? Somebody's just come in my door without knocking. Something's just come in my door. Wait a minute, something's just dissolved my door. What just vaporized my door? Like, can you imagine? Like, you just think of a little cell. Like, sometimes it's just like you just think of a little cell in your body and some chemical or something that just vaporizes the doorway to the cell. And the cell's like, what? All this stuff flooding in. Like, what? I'm trying to do a job here. What? Like, invaders. Of course, there's disturbance, ruffledness, anger, upset. But that doesn't mean that that very sentence that I just read is not the truth. That even though that's happening at a cellular level where something just vaporizes the frickin' cell wall, that doesn't change the fact that love dwells within me. There is a God within me, a God light within me that can put that cell wall back together again in 2.5 seconds, that can literally pull all, neutralize and transmute all of the toxin that just went into that cell.
Right.
If we had a better relationship with ourselves, and if we knew ourselves as light, and if we recognize the light master of us, which would be to truly live the embodied life of love dwells within me, as me.
Yeah. Powerful.
It's a powerful sentence.
It's also not bypassing because you're being authentic. You're still and it's one of the biggest issues I have about some of the new age spirituality that's so it's all about bypass. It's like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. Well, let me distract myself with something else so that I don't feel this discomfort and I'll pretend it's not there. Right. So we have to be both. We have to be both aware.
Well, I think part of that kind of spiritual life that you're talking about is this almost this judgment of I shouldn't feel this discomfort. I shouldn't feel it. I shouldn't be angry. I should be haven't I elevated myself to be the better person to not be angry?
Yes.
And to not have this discomfort. It's like, no, I am not comfortable. I am not comfortable with this. I am not comfortable with what I just read. I am not comfortable with what I just read. I'm freaking upset by what I just read. I'm really angry with an MP that I didn't vote in to power in our neighborhood that has put this in play. I'm really upset. I'm really upset about all of this. And it is my habit. It is my habit when I want to no longer be so upset by this, to have a desire to have divine hold me, have divine hug me. Or in that phrase, recognize love dwells within me as me. Beautiful phrase. But it's the same thing as saying, I need a divine hug from that greater self of me, because I am really troubled right now and I need more information. I need different light frequencies coming in. I am very unsettled. So inform me, help me to see wider, greater, bigger that I'm seeing right now, because I am really lost in judgment. And I'm really feeling lost about what the next step is or what I should do. Now, I personally never had a habit. I don't have a habit of getting lost in a bottle of wine. I don't have a habit of getting lost in a bottle of scotch. I don't have a habit of getting lost in a joint of weed. I don't have a habit of getting lost in I don't know what you call it for LSD. I don't have a habit of doing any of those things. I don't have a habit of turning to drugs, turning to alcohol to help me to get away or help me to resolve what's going on with feelings that I've had. Because to me, that, I've watched too much of that growing up to say that didn't work for anybody. And it just hurt people. And people just weren't behaving the way that they would normally behave. So that was never a solution. So I love this phrase that I just found today. Love dwells in me. And I love the concept of sitting here today, investigating the concept of, like, think of it for a second, like creating more responsibly, like us creating our life more responsibly. What do I mean by that? Creating our life with greater connection to that truth that love dwells within me. So if I stay in that place today, if I just choose to stay in that place today, to just play in that playground today, to just be in that place today, then how am I creating this day? What am I creating as I'm creating this day? What am I doing? What am I opening up to as I just choose to create this day from a place of really connecting to that idea that love dwells within me? So creating from that love place. What do I create from that love place? Do I create a day where I'm just doing absolutely nothing, like absolutely not much of anything, just relaxing, just being, just sitting out in the sun, just creating from that love place that day? A day without a lot of responsibilities, without a lot of running around, with just a lot of rest and sun and clean air and breathing and snoozing and sleeping and And is that the day when I allow myself to create that day from that love place within me?
Mm.
Then what am I doing with my day? How am I painting my day? Yeah. It'd be like what I say to clients, there's only two places for us to really, there's three. I guess there's three. There's in the place of core darkness. So we're connecting to core darkness. We're connecting with drama. We're connecting with stories. We're connecting with the wiring of all the unhealed mess and the pain body within us. We're connecting and playing in that playground. Or we can connect with what I call core light, which a beautiful terminology now that I have it, connecting with the place that knows that truth, love dwells within me. You're connecting to that place of love. You're sitting on your throne of love. And then the other choice is just to not be in body. I'm
Oh,
just out of body. I'm just out of body, man. I'm out of here, man. I'm just out of body.
okay. I was
Like
wondering.
I don't want to be in the drama. I can't deal with the drama. Oh my God, the drama, all this drama, I can't deal with it. And I don't even know my core love place. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know that concept of love dwells within me place. So I don't even know there's another option to that. It's just drama or out of here, drama or out of here, drama or I'm out of here. And I can't deal with all the drama. But there are people that have gone to a place of I can't deal with all the drama, and I want to be with something else other than the drama, and I want to stay here. I want to stay here because I've got a mother to take care of. I want to stay here because I've got a dog to take care of. I want to stay here because I've got a husband that I love. I want to stay here. I want to stay here. Can't deal with the drama. Help me. I want to stay here. Can't deal with the drama. And maybe some of those people find their way into my office and we start talking about connecting into core love, core light within you, which, love this now term, creating your life from the place that knows that love dwells within you. Or the concept of I am the love that I seek.
Mm, mm,
I am that love that I seek to know. Yeah, and it's interesting. It's interesting to be with the feeling of that when I say it.
mhm,
Just to be with that. It's a truth.
mm.
I am capital. I am the love that I seek. So coming from that place, choosing to be in that place, choosing to create my life from that place, choosing to sit in that place, choosing that, allowing for that, then it's kind of like, well, what do I do?
Mhm.
What do I do? Do I write letters? Do I write letters from this place as I sit in this place, as I'm connecting to this place? Do I write letters? Do I write letters to all the MPs? Do I write letters to all the senators telling them how I feel about this? Do I do this? Do I take my time doing this? Do I do anything about this? What do I do about this? Half an hour ago, before I came into this place of remembering that love dwells within me, that I am the love that I seek, and I come and I sit in that love. I sit in that throne made of my love. What do I do about that? What is my role? Do I have a role? Do I have a role in any of that? And if I have a role and I stay with me, what is that role? But it's really interesting to ask those questions when you're in this place of such connectedness to that core place. And I've found it before, where when I actually have found my way to that place, I didn't have a role.
Mm.
I didn't have a role. But I did recognize that there were some foundational people that did have a role. But for this one, then I didn't have one. Spend your time here. Be here. Create from this place. Or we could add a word in that I didn't hear. Create responsibly from this place. Like, how many irresponsible inventions have we created that are now here in plastics, or here with titanium dioxide, here with all these chemicals created in all these cereals? Like, how many irresponsible creations have we created just because we need to create something new now? We need to create something new. Not even necessarily better than what was out there last, but different. We need to create something new and different. We need the psychosis of, we need to create something new and different. We need to create something new and different. We need to create some, oh, please, the coded people that need to create something new and different. Oh, please uncode them.
Yeah.
No, but if you think about it, that's not coming from that core love place. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Why do we need to create something new and different? Oh, right, because we need something else to sell. We need something else to sell because we need to just have that machine moving like that. And we need to create it with programmed obsolescence so that we're going to need to buy something new and different in a couple of years. Or new and almost exactly the same because yours doesn't work because it's now obsolete. I honestly don't think when we are coming from a real connection to our core love, and we are in that place more often than we're not in that place, that we're going to be creating like this, that we're going to want to create like this, that we're going to want to support creating like this. I think it's already starting to happen.
I look at some of these things and I think it's like the darkness's last push. Like the last, it's like they're trying so hard to be relevant when we're changing so much. And anything that would take away our control and our power and our being manipulated is that. And that if we can just hold that space that you're talking about, that core light, that core love, that's,
that connection to sovereign self. Yeah. Right? When you're in that place or I'm in that place, there is no corruption in our government in that place. But when we're caught up there in what I call dark core, and we're caught up there with all the programs that are unresolved, that are embedded in our meshwork, then I think it's kind of like, all right, we need to take responsibility for the corruption in our government. The pain body within us that we're still operating from. That we're still being informed from and guided from and poked from. Mm-hmm. So I choose love.
I choose love too.
I choose love. I choose the love operating within me. And I'll choose to love the pain body that might still be part of me.
Right.
But I don't choose to be guided by it. I don't choose to be governed by it. I don't choose to be informed by it. But I absolutely would like it divinely held, divinely administered to. Because if it had been divinely held and divinely administered to last week, before I was born 200 years ago, it would not be residing within me. So that's the only reason why I know somebody didn't do it back then, because it's within me. Yeah. So hold it, divinely hug it, divinely be with it. And I'm going to be with my love, being informed by that love, guided by that love, governed by that love, sitting with that love, walking with that love. creating with that love. And I like using the word responsibly, creating responsibly with that love. Just not creating for the sake of creating. And to me, part of responsible in the creations is a desire to be connected to my soul while I am creating, while I am creating my life. Which means wanting to be with me, be fully with me in body. Be fully with me in body. Here, in this moment. What do I want? I, the spirit of me, I, the soul of me, I, the love of me, what do I want? What do I want for my career? What do I want for a change in my career? What do I want?
And particles?
Yeah. So the segue into particles. So when I thought about before I really went, man, I'm messy, thought, well, I gotta talk about the mess. I've gotta, do this prayer before we get into this talk. I was going to talk about particles, what I've come to call particle medicine. So the journey with this started, and it's a very new journey. So, I don't consider myself the guru on this at all, except to say, hey, these are the things that have come in. These are the things that are just falling in. You take it from there. People out there, farm information back to me once you know something that I'm not talking about. So it started with Dr. Karen Kahn, and it started with I like to call it the cheat sheet pages that are Surlock's bound that I have of hers, and from her course, from her Topican healing course. And I was led one day, it was like, oh, how many things are there to heal today for me? And it was like 3, whatever, I'm making this up, 3. And are any of them on these charts? One of them was on the charts. The other 2 I didn't need to know about. So that's a cool concept. Just heal it now. Tell me about it later. Never tell me about it at all. Fine, heal it now. I don't need any more information. Thank you. Bring divine light in. As she would say, with ease, speed, and grace in the highest and best way. I have different words for it, but it means the same. But there was one that I needed more specific on, and it was on her charts. And it was in one of the 3 charts. So I'm going through all the little cubes of her charts. I'm doing muscle testing to find it. And I land on 100% max love particle. And I'm sitting there going, 100% max love particle. Well, I can do all the hours of going through all of the information about these, and I haven't done all of it yet. And clearly, this is one of the things that I have not read all of the information from all of these little cubes. So I land on 100% max love particles, and I'm just sitting with that. And it's connecting with an organ. Like, I'm going to make it up now because I can't remember. It's connecting with my liver. So it's connecting with my liver. So apparently my liver, I start asking questions. My liver should have 100% love particles in it, and it doesn't. So I'm asking divine, well, is that the objective, that my liver would have 100% love, maximum love particles? Yes, it is. Well, where is my liver? My liver's sitting at, 27% love particles. Going, oh, that's low. The objective is 100. There's 20% love particles. And I wonder what happened to all the love particles. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, this is a pretty fun conversation. I wonder what happened to all the love particles. Well, what are love particles? I don't know what love particles are, but they sound fine. And I'm supposed to have 100% max love particles. And okay, so I'm thinking, all right, well, is there more information that I need to know about that? Are there blocks, reversals, resistances? Yeah, there were some blocks, reversals, resistances, interference, obstacles, invisible obstacles. So divine, is it safe, appropriate, highest and best interest to clear those? And I got a yes. So that divine, that God within me, that love within me coming in to do that job, clearing away the resistance. So now I'm sitting here with no resistance to the job, which is important because sometimes you just have to get divine to clear away the resistance. And so there I am with no resistance to this job. So can you just do the job? Maybe it's simple for that divine. Can you just do the yes? You can just do the job. Fine. So we're increasing the 27% love particles to 100%. And I can actually feel it. I can actually feel this happening. I'm like, whoa. And I can feel something happening in this kind of lower abdominal area. But more importantly, I could feel something happening in my brain, and I could feel it happening in the back of my eyes. And there is an interesting connection between eyes and liver and eyes and gut. So what the Japanese knew is make everything lovely on a plate, because the eyes will see the deliciousness and beauty, and then that prepares the taste buds in the gut for the food coming in. Japanese were so smart about this. They absolutely knew that. So this is what was happening. So I improved that. I thought, well, thanks, Dr. Karen Kahn. That was kind of cool. That was neat. I could feel that. I'm a feeling person. I could feel that. So I had 100% love particles restored. And that was great. Next thing I hear from guidance is, there's more information about particles. Would you like to know? Would you like to know? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to know. Yeah, I have some time to do that. So the things that came in that day were giving me a few more morsels of information about particles. There are trust particles. There are faith particles. I'm going, trust particles, faith particles. Interesting. Trust particles, faith particles, love particles. This is very interesting. I was getting that they impact and affect consciousness. That these particles are very, very much, they are very much part of our light medicine world. They're very much part of us as light beings and us as energy beings. And they're a very important way of how we operate at these levels of us. They're super important. And whether we understand it or whether we don't understand it, whether we get this idea or not, it is always operating. It's always been there. We've always had relationship with these particles. It's not a new thing, is what I'm getting. It's always been part of us and how we operate. Okay. So that day I was being given information about trust particles and faith particles, just that much information. I'm like, wow, super cool. So then they helped me to understand it maybe a couple of days later when I'm working with a client and we're doing whatever we're doing. And then I literally get the guidance coming in that one of the things that's going on for this person is their brain, their head brain, has some deficiency of trust particles. Yeah. And their gut has some deficiency of faith particles.
Interesting.
So your head doesn't trust, your gut has no faith or very little faith. And you might actually speak that way. You might actually say, I have very little faith in this. I have very little trust in this. I have very little trust in my brain. I don't trust my knee. I don't trust my knee to go down those stairs. I just don't. I had this injury. I've rehabbed. I just don't trust my knee to go down those stairs. So they literally have been playing with delivering little bits of guidance to me all the way along, in the sense that, you know, the physiotherapist helped you for months to rehab your knee, but the physiotherapist does not know anything about trust particles. So as you do all the work to the knee and everything starts to move and everything starts to be more flexible and everything is perfect, and it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not quite perfect because nobody has restored the trust particles to your knee. So even though you've done all the work, and everything is right back to normal, it's not right back to normal because those particles are not there. Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I don't know, several weeks later, all of this is going on this summer. Several weeks later, I get information about courage particles.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, courage particles. And then the kahuna, I get a little bit of information. I mean, it could almost make me cry. It gets me a little information on gratitude particles. And the cool piece of information around gratitude particles is that they strengthen things. Mm-hmm. So if you feel like your back needs strengthening, if you feel like your veins need strengthening, the walls of your veins need strengthening. You know, you've got the varicose veins. It may be, and it's really about asking, would it be beneficial? Would it be safe, appropriate, in highest and best interest? Would it be beneficial to, or are all the walls of my veins deficient in gratitude particles? Are they deficient in any particles? Any particles, the particles that Tracy talks to me about, the particles that Tracy doesn't know, sweet. How about, like, do we have a particle deficiency in this area that could be resolved today? But I loved learning about gratitude particles strengthening things, strengthening confidence, security particles. So it's like, I feel so insecure. Well, is there a particle issue that we could be helpful with here? And so the other piece that they were very clear about is that we have containers for these within our wholeness. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and I think that what happens is that we replenish those containers when we sleep. So there's a restorative to those containers when we sleep. So it's almost, and I got a distinct impression that the thymus was the area of the body that housed a lot of these containers for us. There are hope particles. So think about how many people, like, to have no hope, to have a hope issue is a thyroid issue, right? The positive affirmations for thyroid, I have hope. I have hope. I am light, I'm buoyant, I am filled up with hope. So hope very much connects into thyroid and thyroid health, physical thyroid health. But I can't tell you how many people have literally said out loud these days, I have no hope. And hope is foundational. If you do not have hope, you have nothing. There's nothing. Everything builds from hope. So what I'm able to see, or what was brought forward, is we have these traumas, we have these situations, we have these things that we've taken in and seen a certain way. They can bust the containers. They can literally crack the containers. It's like you can have a moment where something has gone on and you just feel like you've gone gray. Like I watched this happen with my son and he had no color. He said to me, Mommy, I have no color. I'm all gray. But also, I think what that would have meant is whatever happened to him in that moment, however he took it in, however he perceived it, there was a dumping of a bunch of containers. Like they just cracked open and the bottoms fell out of them. And all of these particles are just flowing away. They're all just gone. So sometimes it's about containers being repaired, containers being reestablished, like the container has been crushed. It's like it's just like it couldn't contain anything anymore. So we have the containers for these particles. We have particles residing in these places within our physicality, but I'm thinking we've got particles residing within our aura. Like I just think these particles are just really important. So I know that we're ending this talk in a few minutes or a minute. So just to say, if there are people listening to this and they feel that, I'm one of those people, like I've said it out loud, I have no hope. I have no hope. Like all my hope is gone. What you're talking about is, on an energy level and a light level that your containers have been emptied. And then you're just kind of like, and they're not being filled up. Like there's a belief system, like the way that they were gone was such that they're not coming back. It's not coming back. And it's like, you're wrong. just let a new container come into play. Let that God restore the container. Let that God fix the container. Let that love within you that dwells within you take care of that on your behalf. You're wrong. This can be repaired. So just let it be repaired. And if there are blocks, reversals, resistances, interferences, obstacles, invisible obstacles, hidden and concealed, anything that this divine can release and remove for you, then allow that to happen. Allowing, choosing, claiming, commanding, very powerful words for you to use, and just really allowing for safe and appropriate and highest and best interest of the all. So even if I don't see particles, but I know what it felt like in my body when I allowed love particles to be restored to 100%. These are supposed to be at 100% in our body. 100% in the container, then filled back up to 100%, our body having 100%. And so just allowing for that. So even if it might feel foolish, just allow yourself to be foolish. Just allow yourself to be the fool today. The fool was the smartest guy in the kingdom. The fool was the person in all of the Shakespeare novels where the fool appeared. He got to be everywhere because nobody felt threatened by the fool. And he got to be available to all of it, everything that was going on. So to me, I think one of the most powerful positions to play is the fool.
In tarot just means that the fool trusts 100% that he will be taken care of. As he steps off the cliff with his pup, with his wolf pup, he knows that each step will be taken care of.
Okay, didn't know that.
No.
Didn't know that. And maybe there's a particle that the fool always has available to it to 100%, which would be trust. Right? And who knows? And maybe the container that they're telling me about is the container of our physicality, like the container of our physicality. And that this is what's meant to be. These are meant to be at 100% max. And then as they get drained, they're meant to be filled up again. And that's how we function best. When these are at 100% and they're restored maybe every night when we go to sleep. And even if the trauma has been that huge magnitude, it doesn't mean that the container can't be rebuilt. The container can't be fixed. The damage, uncreated. So the container, which maybe is just the container of our physical body, can contain those particles again, no matter what has happened to us or what we perceived happened to another that we could not deal with. So vitality particles as well is one of the ones that was coming in. But I would say for sure, if you really think there's one, you might have to start with hope.
That I've felt and seen in many people.
Yeah, we say it. If you listen to yourself, you're saying it. You know, I have no faith. I have no faith in this. I have no faith in that. Oh, you've said I have no faith so many times. Go fill up your faith tank with particles. You've just said it too much in the last 3 weeks. Go get that filled up. Just by your saying yes, just by your willingness to have any interference to that being fully released out and lifted into light, because I am allowing, no matter what has happened, and no matter how unresolved it is still in my system, I am allowing my containers of faith and trust and hope and vitality to be filled up and restored. Now. Anyway, nice thoughts, right?
No, they're good. Yeah.
Something more to ask for, something more to think about, something more to ponder.
Good show to come back on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you've been listening to News of the Heart. We've been getting the heart of what matters with Tracy McBurney. I love this show. It's powerful. I like the particle part. I liked all of it. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I've been investigating the idea of just asking, claiming particles be delivered into the containers of X. I know we can't control anything, but we can certainly ask, we can certainly pray now that we know.
Beautiful. All right. We'll be back next month.